afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you for taking time out of a varied and very interesting itinerary to join us today. So my name is Patrick Kiely of Flux Learning and Cork Creative, and this is very much a first for us. This is our first recording of a podcast in front of a live audience, so bear with us. I expect technical trouble. And this is definitely the first podcast where we've had a gracious host, the Ambassador, His Excellency here today, the Malaysian Ambassador. So, without further ado, let's commence the recording. Let's commence the podcast. So, you're very welcome to this episode of Cork Creative, Your Excellency. There's a wonderful buzz around the place, and thanks for joining us. And with our first question today, I suppose, what was your first impression of Ireland when you arrived? And what's your first impression of Dunmanway when you arrived yesterday?
Thank you, Patrick Kiely from Cork Creative. Thank you, the audience, for the live podcast this morning or this afternoon. First of all, allow me to take this opportunity before I answer your question to thank Cork Creative for the opportunity given to me and my team. I would like to also special mention to the Dunmanway Feel the Force Festival organizer for inviting us for the very first time. And this is only the second edition, so of course there's always an opportunity for us to collaborate in the years ahead, not only to celebrate Star Wars fans, but also to actually highlight the unity in diversity. We don't only see Star Wars fans during the weekend, we see all the cosplay players here. And that's good. That's what Malaysia is also all about. Well, I have to answer to your question first because as I said yesterday, when you give the microphone to an ambassador, I told you this as well. If I don't stick to my script, there's a difficulty for me to stop talking. So thank you for the good first question. And I see Nuri back there. Sorry, Nuri. Special mention to Nuri Bakri, our chef, local chef here in Dunmanway, who has been instrumental in starting this Dunmanway Feel the Force Festival, and his wife, Caroline. I'm sure she's also there somewhere. And well, back to your question. I arrived back in October 2023, and I remember it was raining that morning. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. Being from a very tropical country, Malaysia, after 14 hours of journey, arriving in a cold morning, I was quite afraid, to be honest. It was my first assignment as an ambassador. Prior to this, I've just come and I know that I have a boss. Here I'm becoming the boss, but the warm hospitality, the warm welcome that I received at the airport and subsequently at the hotel where I'm staying for the next couple of days before moving to the official residence make me feel at home. You know, instantaneously I feel that Ireland would be my home for the next 3 years. And because of the warm hospitality of the Irish people, which is similar to Malaysian people as well. We are very friendly people back in Malaysia, and that's what makes me feel at home. Dunmanway is my first time arriving here yesterday. Same thing. It was pouring heavily. You know, coming from Dublin to Dunmanway took us 3.5 hours. It was raining all the way until about 5 minutes entering into Dunmanway city limit. Thank God we brought the sun to you guys. I can't promise that I won't bring back the sun to Dublin because I would love to have the sun in Dublin as well. But yeah, that's my first impression. Dunmanway has been, of course, different from Dublin, from the hustle bustle of the city. I love it here so far. I'm staying at one of the Airbnb here. I just spoke to Nuri and his friends from Leeds. You know, how wonderful the landlord and his wife has been. Similarly, I mean, we share a lot of similarity. And so far, I'm enjoying Dunmanway. I will be coming back. I told my family. I had a conversation with them last night. Told my family we got to come back because now I'm here for work. You know, you might see that I'm enjoying my day, but it's actually it's working since yesterday. So yeah, I love Ireland. I love Dunmanway. I would love to have the opportunity to actually see the rural island places. Yeah.
There's a lot to take in Ireland as well, and particularly in the rural areas because of the rich heritage in terms of the famine and the revolutionary period as well. But I suppose, can you let us know, I suppose, what aspects of Irish culture you found particularly interesting and entertaining when you arrived here?
Before I came here, as I said, I came here in October 2023, and we have the Malaysian Ambassador in Kuala Lumpur at that time. or even until today, Her Excellency Ola Turney, she's from Dublin. She introduced me to the Gaelic games. And it just so happened that a week before I arrived here, we actually Kuala Lumpur hosted the Asian Gaelic Games, where we bring all the Irish community in Asia to come to Kuala Lumpur and play 2 days of championship for Gaelic football as well as hurling and camogie. And I find the games very interesting. It's fast-paced. I've never been introduced to such a game. What truly amazed me is not so much of the fast pace of the game. Yeah, I love the games, don't get me wrong. But what truly amazed me is that when she told me that it's being played by normal people. I mean, the
Amateurs.
it's an amateur. I don't see them as amateur because they played at such a,
play such a high level. Yeah.
high skills. And that's the thing that I'm truly amazed, because how you bring the community together, and this is something that we can learn back home. I know that we will talk more about that later, but apart from that, I was surprised also with the language. I've never thought that Ireland would have a language which is, it's nowhere close to English. Phonetically, it's just like when I'm trying to learn the French. I tried to help my son learning the Gaelic because he goes to normal school. I don't send him to private school or international school here. And to teach my son Gaelic is, it's difficult, but I love it. I mean, it's something which I find it most interesting. Yep.
And you've shared a fond memory of teaching your son Gaelic. Are there any other fond memories or experiences that you've had since you've arrived in Ireland that you'd like to share with the audience?
Fond memories. If I'm into my second year here, if I would have to choose one, it's going to be difficult. I mean, it has been a memorable experience for me ever since the day that I arrived. But if I ever have to, I mean, as I said, I enjoy the country.
Sure.
I enjoy driving. I know that my team doesn't like me driving on my own. My team doesn't allow me to walk freely. They are worried that something will happen to me. But I told them I'm a normal person. My security at the embassy, who is actually Irish, when he saw me walking from my residence to the office, he told my team, please tell your ambassador, don't walk on your own. But as I said, the memorable thing is that when you walk, enjoy the seaside or coastal region, as well as the rolling greens, hills and abundant trees. That's what I like about this country. I mean, who would have thought, for us coming from another region, when we see all the economics data that Ireland has, we would have thought you guys would have something similar to what Kuala Lumpur has, tall buildings. But it's certainly different. I mean, when I arrive here, I can see how you still value the history. You still have so much places that we are going back to the nature. I mean, that's what I love. And my other fond memory, if I have to choose, is that last year, my daughter met her soulmate in Dublin. They never knew each other. He's Irish Kosovar. They met in Dublin while she was visiting me last March. They got married last July. Yeah. I'm not that young. That would be the fond memories if I were to have to choose.
That's a great memory, and it speaks to the multiculturalism of Ireland that
means
such a meeting could happen.
That means I will have to stay here even long after I've completed my tenure in Ireland. Ireland will always be my home because my daughter, after marrying her husband, now she's still working in Saudi. But her contract with her university will complete or will end soon, and she will be joining me in Dublin. But of course, I hope in different home.
So we spoke a little of the cultural similarities between Ireland and Malaysia. I suppose, how has Ireland-Malaysian relations evolved over the last couple of decades?
All right. As I said earlier, I mean, we are geographically very much further apart. But to be honest with everybody, I feel that we have different religion, we have different race, but we are of the same mold. The Irish and Malaysians are very warm people, very hospitable. And when we look at the evolution of Malaysian-Ireland relations over the past few decades, we have officially our diplomatic ties begin in 1963. when Malaysia was formed. We got our independence way earlier, but it was only Malaya then from the British in 1957. But it was in 1963 when we formed Malaysia together, Malaya together with Sabah and Sarawak formed Malaysia. That's when our diplomatic ties was established. And since then, our ties have grown from strength to strength. For many years, Malaysia has been the only ASEAN country that has diplomatic presence in Dublin, believe it or not. Of course, this year we just received the Philippines ambassador, and we will soon receive the Vietnamese ambassador as well. But the fact that we are the only ASEAN in the last 2-3 decades means that we do trust Ireland as our important partner in the EU. And your embassy was also established similar to ours in the early 2000s. And when we look at bilateral trade, it has grown almost 60% last year, from 3.5 billion euro in 2023 to 5.6 billion euro last year. And the good thing is we don't impose tariff on you, despite the fact that we have a large trade deficit with Ireland, believe it or not. Of the 5.6 billion that we of our bilateral trade, Malaysia only exports about not even 0.6 billion. Not even 600 million goes to Ireland. So that means that 5 billions of the total trade is actually items that we import from Ireland. We believe this could further increase because there's always opportunity for us to increase trade to Ireland, especially in food products, environmentally friendly building materials, solar panels and clothing and apparels. And when we look at the exchange of visits, it has been quiet before I arrived, but I'm glad to share that since my arrival, we have 3 high-level visits. We have our speaker visiting your country last year, and one minister at minister level, our Minister of Higher Education, visited Dublin last year, and one Chief Minister of a state, which is equivalent to your mayor level here. And we do hope that at the same time, we also had the first bilateral or political consultations between Malaysia and Ireland last year. And Dublin is supposed to host the second consultation next year. So I do believe that this will grow strength from strength to strength in the years ahead.
It's great to hear about those growing ties, but I think, and speaking for myself, I think not all of us are as familiar with Malaysia as we should be. So for those who are uninitiated, how would you describe Malaysia to someone who may be considering visiting there from Ireland?
Oh, well, if I were to describe one word, Malaysia truly Asia. Meaning that we have everything. You don't have to go to any Asian countries to experience different culture, different places. Why we have that tagline? That tagline is actually being, many countries are jealous of that because we came up with that. If you go to many of the Asian countries, we have so many, most of them are multicultural. But why Malaysia is such a special thing, because you get all the major ethnic in Malaysia. You got the Malays, which is where my roots are. We got the Chinese, we got the Indians as well. And of course, if you go to Sabah and Sarawak, we have more than 100 different ethnicities, the native people. And culturally, we are diverse. There's a lot of places that you can visit. There's a rainforest. And if you love the beaches, if you love islands, we have abundance of them. And the good thing is that the euro currency is now very much stronger compared to our Malaysian ringgit. It used to be only 1 to 4. Now it's 1 to 5. So you have 5 times purchasing power if you come to our country. Food is about 1 to 1 is about the same. But just imagine with a $2 or 2 euros, what you can get here. It's actually you can get 10 euros worth of items if you go to Malaysia. I know the difficulty is the flight. We don't have direct flights at the moment, but the good thing is if you book to any of these Middle East countries, like the transits are always either in UAE or Qatar. They have a good package where during transit you can also visit those countries. I'm doing my Qataris and my Emirates ambassador a favor here, promoting their countries, but all because I want you guys to come to our countries. Malaysia is very much hospitable, similar to Irish. You will feel at home, except that I know that you want sun, but you will get more than sun if you go to Malaysia. It's quite hot.
I think you can all agree, folks, that's a fairly compelling pitch to go to Malaysia.
Yes, indeed.
To switch track for a second, the recent collaboration between Malaysian universities and Irish universities and with Malaysian students in Ireland. Can you speak a little bit to that, please?
All right. As I said, our diplomatic relations officially is only in 1963, and we established our embassy here only in 2001. But we do have our Malaysian hall, which housed our students back then in the 60s. So even before we had our embassy for 40 years, the Malaysian hall in Leeson Park in Dublin has been there. There's one Malaysian actually who owns the house in 1960. He came here to actually to study, but when he left, he donated the house. He got the house from the local here in the 60s, and he donated the house to our higher education. We thank him for that. And as I said, education and student exchange program has been a vital part of the strong partnership between Malaysia and Ireland. We used to have about 5,000 Malaysian students annually coming to Ireland. And believe it or not, that 5,000 solely in medicine. They don't study, we don't send any students for other purpose except for medicine. But we stopped that just right before COVID because the cost has been increasing. And I think housing is still an issue for our students to come here. But I would also like to share that because of that, we managed to bring your college to Malaysia. And if here in Ireland, RCSI and UCD, they are competing to get students, believe it or not, in Malaysia, we got them to join hands to establish a college. We call it the RUMC. You know, R stands for RCSI, U stands for UCD. They collaborate together and they have a big campus in Penang. And every year we still send about 930 students in RUMC program, whereby they spend 2 years here in Dublin. They can choose either to have their first 2 years in RCSI or UCD, and the remaining 3 years in Malaysia. So very good collaboration between Malaysia and Ireland in terms of education. Of course, I can go on and on about the recent collaboration.
What advice would you give to young people looking to maybe study in Malaysia or young Malaysians looking to study in Ireland?
All right. But before I go to that, I just want to add one more. The recent collaboration, I would like to thank both the UNISHAM, which is the Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah Islamic University in Kedah, which had just signed an MOU with a Memorandum of Understanding with the Dublin-based inaugural technology, which would pave the way for collaboration between the two institutions, including in areas such as technical and vocational studies, green tech and renewable energy. And coming back to your question, what advice would I give to students, either Malaysians coming to Ireland or Irish students going to Malaysia? I was a student abroad as well. Maybe I wish that they sent me to Ireland to become doctors. But then again, if I become a doctor, then I wouldn't be here today. I love what they actually, the government sent me to the US. Fast forward to 2025, if I receive the same scholarship, whether I will still take up that scholarship and goes to the US. Things are different now. But my advice to all our students in Ireland is try to embrace the cultural differences. As I said, that we are so much similar. We have to project unity in diversity.
For sure.
And apart from prioritizing academic excellence, academic success, I think what our students should look for is to actively seek connections, make friends with the locals Irish, and be open to new experiences. And same goes to Irish students who are looking to study abroad. I know that there has not been any history for many Irish students going to our region, especially Malaysia. But try to seek the experience better because, as I said, €1 equivalent to 5 Malaysian ringgit. You know, you get a lot more. And most of our colleges back home, majority have on-campus accommodation. And on-campus accommodation is only about 200 ringgit per month. If we translate that into euro, it's only €40 per month for your students to pay. So
another compelling proposition, folks.
So please come to Malaysia. You can discuss with me. Can reach my team. You know, for more information, we do have our education attaché in London who would be glad to actually provide all the detailed information about the opportunities to study in Malaysia.
Changing tack again, and apologies for the whiplash to the audience and to the ambassador, but it's something you have an opportunity to experience this weekend is the Malaysian cuisine.
Yeah.
And I suppose It's incredibly diverse. Do you have a particular favorite dish that you'd like to recommend to the audience and to the audience of the podcast?
Well, yeah, this is something that we are totally different when it comes to food, because most of the food back home rather spicy compared to the kind of food that we are having here. Not to say that we don't, we do love our fish and chips. We do have one of the most famous fish and chips. One that has been in Kajang. He's a former chef working in Ireland, believe it or not the UK. Sorry, my friend from Leeds. But if I were to recommend one, I would recommend nasi lemak. It's a highly recommended dish for anyone visiting Malaysia. And it's often considered a national dish and true taste of Malaysian cuisine. It's a fragrant coconut rice with spicy sambal. Sambal is a spicy cream. It has a diverse ingredients. We have normally you can either eat it with rendang chicken or beef and even squid. And why do I recommend this is that last year, this dish together with two other Malaysian cuisine, namely the roti canai, which is something similar to paratha, as well as teh tarik. Teh tarik is a pull tea. You make a milk tea and you pull it. For those who have visited, I'm not good at doing it. I can't really give you a demonstration on that. But these three dishes, what I would recommend, because following our submission to UNESCO in March 2023, nasi lemak together with these two other dishes has been included in UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List. So yeah, it's originally Malaysians. You might say that many other countries will claim that it's just, but UNESCO has said that this is Malaysians, and I would recommend that for those wanting this, try to taste this. We do have this being offered by some of our restaurants locally in Ireland.
Sure. And I suppose, are there Malaysian restaurants and cultural events in Ireland that you'd recommend for the audience here and the audience of the podcast to attend?
All right. This is a question that I always get from many people. I always tell them, and my answer will always be the same when asked about this. The best place to get the best Malaysian food is my house. Yeah.
It's an open invitation, everybody.
When I first asked to come here, for us Malaysian ambassadors, similar to many other countries, we are allowed to bring a personal chef to help us promote our culinary overseas. And my personal chef is somebody who is extraordinary because in most cases, you don't bring an owner of a restaurant because no owner of the restaurant would leave their restaurant. They are making money. He's making money back home. The only reason why he's following me is because we went to the high school together. I went to a military school. So the bond of the brotherhood. So when I call him, he says that he will come over. But coming back to your question, apart from my house, we have a number of restaurants which I should mention here in Dublin as well as across Ireland, which people can get an authentic Malaysian food. If in Dublin, for fine dining, you can have the Langkawi restaurant in Baggot Street in Dublin 4. And for street food, you can have it in Kopitiam in Capel Street and E.T. in Parnell Street. E.T. was here yesterday. And in Cork, we have the Malay Kitchen. Malay Kitchen is here today. And then in Galway, we have Mama Rich. Wicklow, Tapau House. The one in Wicklow was here yesterday. And then in Roscommon or Carrick-on-Shannon, we have My Kitchen by Sham. And I think of all, My Kitchen by Sham could probably the most famous one because Chef Sham always appears in local RTE channels involving live demonstration on Malaysian cuisine. He also works quite closely with Asia Market, Eva Pau. So yeah, those are the restaurants. And when it comes to cultural events, for those who are adventurous enough, we do have numbers of programs, cultural programs, which is open to public.
Sure.
In fact, next week, if you guys are in Dublin, we are having our Eid celebration. So normally we will have at least 3 festivities that is open to public, not only Malaysians in Ireland, but also to the locals. And just browse through our Facebook. Because what we have during those days is an open house where it's similar to the celebration that we have back home. Okay. Just imagine Christmas. You open your house to everybody, not just your family. That's how we celebrate festivities at home, and similar here. And this is why I see my if you want to taste Malaysian food, you can come to our event because it is prepared by my chef. For next week, it's prepared by my chef, as well as we have collaboration with the local chef, the Malaysian chef locally. So yeah, just glance through our Facebook or any of our social media, X as well, Embassy of Malaysia in Dublin. And you can see we will from time to time post any cultural events that you can come and join and taste some of our food.
Right. How does Malaysia use culture, art and cuisine then to build relationships and friendships around the world, do you think?
Well, this is only in recent years that we because traditionally embassies, we do things very formal. You know, we don't really delve into public diplomacy. We don't do culture, but over the years, I would say that culture, arts, and especially food has become more and more important in making friends around the world. You know, because we are a really diverse country. I mean, as I said, we are multiracial. We have indigenous communities, and that makes our culture incredibly rich. When we share it with the world, whether through festivals, I mean, it's similar to Irish. I mean, St. Patrick's Day is not only in Ireland. St. Patrick's Day is about sharing it with the world. The same with us. So when we share our culture with the world, whether through festivals, traditional dances or music, people get a real sense of who we are. We are actually similar to Irish. We are very warm, inclusive, and always open to learning about others too. So our artists and performers in recent years have traveled a lot and take part in international events. Unfortunately for our embassy in Dublin, we don't receive them that much because, as I said, it has been our focus has always been students' academic exchange. But this, I see this will change over the years. And Malaysian food, as I said, is one of our biggest ambassadors. Everyone who tries nasi lemak, as I mentioned just now, satay or laksa, you know, usually they will fall in love with it. I know it's a bit spicy, but that's where spicy food, when you eat with teh tarik, you will not feel that spicy anymore. That's why the combination is as such.
That's an important message for my kids, I think.
and the other thing is you can either teh tarik is because it has milk. So actually it's the milk effect.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be saying it because this would mean that I'm promoting the food from other countries. But if you eat Korean food, it's very spicy. It's spicier than Malaysia, actually, Malaysian food. But the best way to address that, right after you eat the Korean food, you drink milk. You won't feel that spiciness, you know. So yeah, milk will go a long way, but only if you are you're not having problem with lactose intolerant. Yep.
There's a marketing opportunity there for Dairy Gold and for Clona, I think.
Yeah, indeed.
How is you spoke briefly about it, but how do you think the role of cultural diplomacy has changed over the years?
Yeah.
And has social media impacted on that, do you think?
Well, as I said, I mean, the role of cultural diplomacy has changed over the years. When I first joined the ministry as a diplomat, it's totally different. I mean, you see people in. I wouldn't be here wearing this, to be honest, if this were 30 years ago. You know, but I'm proud to wear this jacket because it's from Nuri's clan, the Tuscan Westcott clan. You would see me in you know, James Bond kind of attire, rather, if it's 20 years ago. But today, you see, we try to get close to people. I mean, this is where diplomacy is, you know. I see that cultural diplomacy will become more important in the years ahead. For sure. In a world where politics can sometimes divide us, but culture, food will bring us together. It has a unique ability to bring everyone together. We see how it's done here. I mean, Star Wars, who would have thought that, you know, when we watched the movie in the 70s, I remember I was growing up. Now people know how old I am. When we watched Star Wars those days, it has that message, right? I mean, you have different creatures in Star Wars. But unfortunately, we spoke about this as well. They all speak some language, even though I couldn't understand Tuscan language. I couldn't understand the Wookiee language. But we all try to, you know, to unite the people against the dark forces. You know, so we are also seeing when we talk about cultural diplomacy, we are seeing younger people nowadays engaging in with culture in new and creative ways through digital platforms mostly and social media, even in films and gaming. Yeah. That opens up exciting opportunity possibilities of how we can tell and share our stories and connect with audiences who may never set foot in our own country. And through that platform, we hope that people, as I said, Malaysia truly Asia, but we also have a catchy phrase which many countries in Asia have rather been jealous of us, because we say to know Malaysia is to love Malaysia. And you can only, with the advent of technology, with social media, you can actually disseminate this.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, it's all about building bridges quietly, steadily, and with heart. And I believe those bridges through the cultural diplomacy will be even more essential in the years ahead.
And to be quite parochial for a second, when you return to Malaysia, is there something in particular from Ireland you'd like to bring?
When I first reached here, people always ask me, you need to experience Guinness. The thing is, in Malaysia, we do have similarities. We hang out in Kedai Mamak, we call it. It's cafe, actually. Kedai Mamak is cafe. Here, people hang out in pubs. Something that I would love to bring back is the pub culture, not the drinking part of it, but where the community actually come together, tell stories. Play fiddles during those days. Those are the which I think is which bring the community closer, and it's something that we over the years we do have such culture during those days, but it became slowly with the advent of technology we forgot about that. But thank God, I mean, here you can still see those culture thriving especially in rural areas. I mean, one of the Netflix or the Hollywood movie, I can't remember the title, but it's
the Banshees of
Banshee of that's the culture that I think we should cherish, because when the community comes together and have that kind of, I know that the negative part, I'm not saying about the negative part.
Maybe without the homicides in that movie.
Not the negative part, but how people comes together in a place where everybody, that's something that I would like for us to bring back.
Sure.
I'm not saying that we don't have that culture those days, but there's something that we have to bring back. And of course, the other thing is how we should, you see, when I first arrived here, I thought that I wouldn't enjoy sightseeing or the hiking part of it. But perhaps in Malaysia it's difficult because of the weather. But we need to bring those, like how the Irish always cherish the nice weather. Every time there's a sunshine outside, you bring your family, come together and have a nice walk. This is something that I hope that our community will also be able to do.
And you spoke about Yusri earlier, and I think the event and all of the fantastic things he's created is a testimony to his creativity and what he's brought to Field of Force and what he's brought to Dunmanway. I mean, how does the embassy view the role of such cultural exchanges in strengthening Malaysia-Ireland relations?
All right, thank you. That's a good question. I didn't know about Yusri until the Irish Times published an article about him last year. If I'm not mistaken, it's about January or February, something like that. And immediately when I saw that, I posted or I shared that post in our social media, congratulating him for the excellent work that he's done. I know it has nothing got to do with Malaysia at that point, except that he's a Malaysian. But that creativity, like you said, I mean, cosplay, I wouldn't think that he's a chef. Could probably be an engineer, but a chef making cosplay, not only the costumes, but also all the props. And I think we can work together. I mean, as much as we help him to connect him with the right organization back home that could collaborate on certain programs or initiative. The dissemination of talents that we have abroad with the right institutions back home, this is something that the embassy would play a role in. Sure. I know that there's nothing much that we can do because traditionally that's not what we do.
Sure.
But we can work together. I mean, had I not know or approached Yusri, we wouldn't have brought Malaysia to the galaxy far, far away in Dunmanway. And today we are here. We are glad to not only to promote Malaysia, but also promote the city Dunmanway to the locals back home. And we can help each other. Us disseminating all this information through social media. As I said, social media has a broad reach, and it is through such collaboration that we will be able to disseminate all this information, working hand in hand.
I suppose in Ireland, the diaspora is key to what we do, and you mentioned Patrick's Day, and it's a way of activating the Irish diaspora. Is that something that you think that the Malaysian embassies and the Malaysian embassy in Ireland will do more in the future to activate the diaspora and people like Yusri and showcase their creativity more?
Certainly. I mean, before my arrival here, I'm not saying that my predecessor hasn't done so. My predecessor may have done so, but during those days, the social media usage is not as what it is now.
Sure.
Right? If we look 10 years back, the social media outreach perhaps only through Facebook. Not more than that. But now, I mean, everything. I mean, you have TikTok, you have everything.
Yeah.
So what we have been using is that we use the social media. Since my arrival, I've had engagement with our Malaysian diaspora, not only in Dublin, but we went from city to city. We were in Cork twice already since my arrival, last year and earlier this year. And this is where we get to know all the Malaysians, especially those who have special talents like Yusri. And I know that, as I said, we can't do much if we look at our budget alone, because we are not a big embassy. We're not a country which can lavishly spend money for local talents abroad. But what we can do is that, like when I first met Yusri, I straight away sent a report back home saying that we have such a talent, not only for Yusri, but also for all our other talents. We send report back home, and then we do hope that we can connect them with some universities. We do have universities coming here from Malaysia, and we can certainly connect them. That's where the role of the embassy as a bridge for our local people here, not only for the Malaysians, but also we try to talk to the local Irish as well, whom we think that can play a role in strengthening our ties, Malaysia-Ireland ties.
And when you speak to future collaborations, what opportunities do you think exist for collaborative projects between Malaysian creatives abroad and local Irish artists or local Irish institutions?
All right. We have the UiTM Sarawak, which is a University Technology Mara, coming later this year. They are having collaboration. They are meeting with DCU, Dublin College, and then they are also meeting with Trinity College. And of course, it's not for me to decide what sort of specific collaboration. When we have a specific proposal, like if Yusri would like for us to connect him with specific agencies back home with specific proposal, we can certainly play that role. And if you ask me what sort of specific areas that we can look in, I would see that Malaysian films, I would love to bring the cinematography between both countries. I mean, Irish film industry also is very much different from the UK. It is something that we can collaborate on, just to to exchange culture practices.
For sure.
As I say, I'm approaching my second year. Normally, we don't stay that long because, unfortunately, Ireland is such a well-sought post by many of our diplomats. That's for good reason, meaning that the country is good. Everybody wants to come here. So when you reach a certain period, lobbying must have started back home to replace me. But I hope that I can at least before I go, at least I can leave something which is impactful for my predecessor or for my successor to take on.
Sure.
And film is something that we could collaborate. Creative, industry is something that we can also work with. We have people like Yusri, not only Yusri, but many others. We have artists, painters as well. And this is something that we can bridge them with any interested parties in Malaysia.
Sure. And it's interesting that you mentioned cinematography when there's increasingly a more diverse and decentralized studio system in Ireland. You have the West Cork studio and you have other opportunities now as well. So there's a rich possibilities in the cinematographer space for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're coming to the close of our podcast. I'm going to leave the last word to the ambassador. All I can say is thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. The conversation was very welcome and thank you for taking the time. Thank you all for being the audience. And, Your Excellency, you may close.
Thank you, Patrick Kiely from Cork Creative for the opportunity given. Thank you, Nuri, Bakri, and
For
Caroline for making this a reality for me. Without all the parties here, I don't think I'll be here today. And what I would like to say to all my Irish friends, Malaysia is open, welcoming, and ready to be discovered by you guys. You know, whether you're thinking about visiting, studying, or doing business, or just learning about each other, you know, another culture. Malaysia certainly has something for everyone. And we are a country, as I said earlier, we are a country that celebrates diversity. Our people, our food, our languages, our tradition, all coexisting in a way that are uniquely Malaysian. We share many similarities like Ireland. It is a place where modern cities sits alongside ancient rainforests, where street food rivals a 5-star Michelin restaurant, you know, and where you're just likely to hear laughter in kopitiam or in cafe as you are in classroom or boardroom doing business. So more than anything, we value connection and friendship. I do hope that we could see more Irish travelers, tourists coming to Malaysia in the years ahead. The number has been increasing. We are reaching way beyond the numbers that we have reached prior to COVID. So whether it's your first time hearing Malaysia today or you have already visited us, I would like to invite you to come over and come back again to Malaysia and experience it for yourself. You'll be most welcome, trust me. And with that, as we would say in bahasa, terima kasih. Thank you, Daramahagan.